madre no estaba loca. Ni ella ni ninguno de tus hermanos, y tú tampoco lo estás. Es esa casa.
Amazing. I mean, I feel like for all of us, it was, you know, to have one person in charge and to have everything come from his mind was I think for an actor is kind of reassuring, you know, that it's not getting scattered or lost in translation when you're moving through directors. And so I think that it was a kind of incredible experience for all of us, you know, to have just one kind of boss, one person that was kind of steering the ship.
Yeah, the thing I love about Flanagan is how much he cares about the characters and their inner lives and the acting. I play Shirley, who is a mortician and runs her own funeral home, and one of the adult children who grew up in the Hill House.
Yeah, so I play Luke, that's the youngest of the five, who has a twin, Nell. And again, it's, you know, the whole show is about this family and these five kids that grew up in this house and how the events of what went on in that house have kind of dictated the rest of their lives and have affected the rest of their lives. I think it kind of is a bit of both, which is quite interesting with doing all these interviews, is that people kind of want to put it in one category or the other, and I think that what's genius about Mike is he's created something that is kind of a mixture, it's a fusion of the two, which I don't necessarily feel has ever been done before, and I think that's kind of why the show works so well. You know, it's taking this idea that, you know, they're not out, the show isn't out for a cheap scare or a cheap jump or anything like that. It's investing, you know, an audience in a family and how they are dealing with their lives.
Well, I mean, I think that's the best horror is really rooted in reality and family. The Exorcist, Shining,
Yeah.
That type of horror is psychological and for me way more terrifying to watch than any sort of like goofy jump scares.
Well, I think as well, if you're basing something in reality, like you say, you know, growing up, you know, I remember watching The Exorcist and thinking it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen, and it's because I think the reason that movie works so well is because it's just a regular mother and daughter in Georgetown in Washington that this kind of insane thing happens to. And so what's so terrifying about it is it could happen to any of us. You know, any of us could. And also the idea of a haunted house, which, you know, houses are supposed to be these things that keep you safe, you know, that keep you dry and keep you safe. And to the idea of something kind of, not vindictive, what's the word? Like insidious being there, I think preys on all of our fears.
Yeah, where you sleep, you know,
Yeah.
where you're most vulnerable. I thought it was fun. I love Lulu Wilson. I've worked with her before. She played my daughter in Ouija, Origin of Evil, and she's just a great young actress. And I got to watch some of her stuff while I was shooting my stuff and vice versa, and I just felt very connected to her.
I feel like with young Luke, because the journey from him being a child to an adult is quite a step. We didn't necessarily talk. It was also he's 5 years old, and so I don't think he necessarily understood what we were doing. So I don't think. I think out of all of, you know, the same with Victoria, who plays Nell and young Nell, we kind of didn't really want to kind of have those conversations about character or anything, or so. But you guys, I mean, the elder siblings all did.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. She's such a fantastic actress, Lulu Wilson. So I didn't, you know, we didn't. There was an understanding, but I don't think. I think she and I are just very connected and have been for some time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what will be quite interesting to see is that people will probably see the title and they'll see, you know, all of the amazing stuff that Netflix have created, sort of social media wise, and they'll tune in expecting to be terrified straight off the bat. And the thing is, you can't do that with a 10-hour show. It has to build. And so I think that it'll be very interesting to see. I think that what Mike has done is he's kind of revolutionizing what the rules are within horror and what you can do with it. And so what will be really interesting to see is how a horror fan kind of consumes it, and how they feel about what's been done here. Because I think it's very different. It's not going to be what people necessarily expect.
Mm-hmm.